Taron McKenzie puts the red line KTM back on pole position ahead of Joe Francis and Joe Irving, with Ed Rendell in 4th place on the grid. The second row is headed by the leader of the 125 GP two-stroke championship, Tom Kahn, on his Honda, ahead of Jordan Weaving, the famous Cadwell Park victor from last year, Catherine Green, and Paul Jordan. Third row, Elliot Lodge, James Hobson, Peter Sutherland and Arnie Shelton. And the fourth row has Callum Bay, Jake Bayford, Taz Taylor and Ricky Tarrant, all on 125s. 17-year-old Taron McKenzie on pole position on his red line KTM here at Thruxton for the Monster Energy Motostar British Championship round 2, and a scalding start from the little Scotsman. And on the orange KTM, he just screams to the front, and I think it's the second KTM that's made a move through behind him, which is Joe Irving, number 66 from Home Firth, on the RS Racing Toad and Tatey pub to KTM. But very quickly getting ousted from that second place. Taron McKenzie, though, running at the front, which is where his dad expects Taz to be. The red line KTM then leads the way. You can hear the bark of the 250cc single-cylinder 4-stroke engine as they go hurtling out into the country. I think it might be Joe Francis on the WD-40 250 Honda who's come through into second place.
Absolutely, yeah. He's the man who gave Taron McKenzie a run for his money at Brands.
And it looks like he's preparing to do the same again here around the much faster open spaces of Thruxton. James, it must be... Oh, let's just check out the intermediate lap 1 classification. McKenzie, Francis, Jordan Weaving, Joe Irving, Ed Rendell, Tom Kahn, with Sutherland, Catherine Green and Paul Jordan topping out that leading 9 riders. It must be great riding these small things around here, because you must be just about on the stop all the way round.
There's lots of it flat out, but one of the things that's really important, particularly on these little bikes, is slipstreaming. You've got to make the most of it if you're going to make a pass.
Just as Jordan Weaving did then, James. Yep. Slipstreamed and then dropped in on the brakes.
Exactly, under Joe Irving. And he'd actually done half the hard work before he even got to the braking zone. You know, and that's what you've got to do. You've got to set it up. You've got to get yourself tucked in, get in the slipstream and use it.
Oh, Taron McKenzie just about on the grass to fend off Joe Francis into lap 2 ahead of Jordan Weaving, Joe Irving, Ed Rendell and Tom Kahn.
One of the things you do on these little bikes, because they haven't got the power to square the corners and somebody's off, I think that's Club Chicane, I think that's
Jordan. Paul Jordan.
Yeah.
The Irish boy coming into the start and finish area on the Replicast Seal Honda has gone down.
Yeah, like I was saying, so the lines, they haven't got the power. These things have got about 50, 55 horsepower. So if you square them off, brake late, stop, get the thing really slowed down, square it off the corner, have it leaned over for...
Oh, Joe, what was that? The young Cheshireman was absolutely flat-stick and almost lost the front.
He was nearly off that, like you cannot believe. The front end, when he slid, it gripped, it slid again, and that's, he didn't shut the throttle, I've got to say. But you'll see the lines on these. We'll see it again. Watch. It goes for the outside line on Taron McKenzie. Watch the front. Watch. He's gone a bit wide there just to get around. It goes, and it goes again. That would be a stop for a underpants change for me, I've got to say, because it was nearly on the deck. Battle for third's hotting up now, and it still is Joe Irving that holds it.
And Tom Kahn coming into the reckoning now. McKenzie, 1:23.846 sets the fastest lap.
Yep.
Do you know, it's so far off the lap record, there must still be dampness on the tarmac out there.
Do you know what I think a lot of it is? It's a really windy day, and it makes a heck of a difference on these things. Not does it just make a difference to how fast, if you've got an headwind, how fast you can go down the straight, but also really, really fast corners where you really have to be committed. And you know, you can be actually blown off the bike on these 125s. He's so light. Taron takes a tear off there.
Taron McKenzie leads. Joe Francis trying to hang on in second. And and there was a mistake, was there, from second place man?
Yep. Yeah, that's it. That's where he lost the time.
Do you know, James, there's a following wind there. And, and I think we've seen incidents like that in every race so far.
Yeah, and if it affects any class above the others, it's this one. The 125s and small 250 in the Motostar class, it makes a big difference as a win.
But look at this. This is Tom Kahn. I said he was coming, and look at this. Tom Kahn has sliced his way like a red-hot knife through butter through that gang and is now into third place. Number 17, Tom Kahn, ahead of Jordan Weaving and number 66, Joe Irving, and number 12, Ed Rendell.
Yeah, I was explaining the fact that we've got out there 250 four-stroke bikes and we've got 125 two-stroke bikes. Now, on paper, there shouldn't be much in it. A two-stroke fires every time the piston comes to the top, and a four-stroke fires every other time. So you should be able to get as much power out of a half-size, capacity-wise, two-stroke than you can a four-stroke. However, the fact is there's been not much real development on the two-stroke side for quite a long time, and the four-strokes are a brand new developed bike, so they possibly have the edge at the minute.
I don't know whether Joe Irving feels that at the moment because he's getting pummeled by the 125. Yeah. He's about to be joined by the white machine of the young Glaswegian, Sutherland, number 10. So number 17, Tom Kahn, has just knifed through that one. And there is Sutherland, look right round the outside of Joe Irving. And Irving now is behind a quartet of 125s.
He won't be the first person to get a bit of trouble from a young Glaswegian, I wouldn't have thought. I used to have a bit in my day from Jim Moody.
The Kinpack Racing Aprilia 125, Peter Sutherland, the Glaswegian, number 10, has moved through then to join in that queue of 125s. Number 17 running in third place. Tom Kahn leading the 125cc class in the Monster Energy British Motostar Championship. There's Jordan Weaving. He was beaten by Kahn last week into second place and is once again running second to him here. Ed Rendell finished third at Brands last weekend, and there he is in the bright yellow and green outfit, moving through on Jordan Weaving now. So Rendell makes a move.
Yep, and this is one of the circuits where the 125 two-strokes possibly have as much chance as anywhere because it's quite high speed. And the four-strokes, the 250 four-strokes, tend to have more mid-range and a bit more grunt and a bit more guts out the corner. You can run in you don't have to be as accurate with what gear you've got on. They've got a wider spread of power, where the 125s have definitely got as much top end. So you would think here they'd have as good a chance as anywhere.
Ed Rendell went to inside then. I don't think Kahn knew he was there. Rendell had to swap swiftly to the outside. So the 19-year-old from Haslingden, Rossendale in Lancashire, motorcycle mechanic Tom Kahn, is at the front of this group. But for how long? Because Rendell looking really threatening. Rendell, who dwarfs that little Honda.
Kahn's not a small
kid. I beg your pardon. It's a Banks Racing Honda there, but Kahn tucks in very, very tidily at the front and gets away in a straight line as they come up Woodham Hill. Yeah,
most of the 125 two-strokes will be Hondas. We've got an Aprilia out there, but I think that is just... we might even have a 125 two-stroke KTM as well.
Actually, that boy in white, Peter Sutherland, is on an Aprilia.
Yeah, so we've got a couple of Aprilia 125 two-strokes, maybe one KTM 125 two-stroke, and the four-strokes are a mix between Hondas and KTMs.
Looking back there at Tom Kahn running wide. He lost it there, just had to sit it up going into Campbell's, and that gave Ed Rendell the chance to move through into the lead in the 125 class. Yeah, there's number 10 Sutherland.
And I think that, again, that was wind assisted, that was running wide move, because that is where the wind would be right underneath. It's coming...
Jordan Weaving got the draft from both of them together. Oh, boys, sort it out. Brilliant 125 class racing here.
Is it? This is what we like. I love them. And that said, Rendell's got to go wide after that. He lost the front, the back went a little bit. It's quite bumpy around there, and there's some little bits of overband, and if you just hit the sort of longitude, you see it where the patches are, and if you just hit, some of them have some little sort of ridges in, and that can upset the bike as well. They don't take a lot of upsetting, these 125s. They're very light, 136 kilo limit with the bike and the rider and the gear on the fuel.
The sun comes out on what is turning into a beautiful breezy spring day here. Kahn is back up to third place, first place in the 125 class. Weaving slips past Ed Rendell into second again. So as they go cut through the chicane, we're on the 8th lap of 14 now. Tom Kahn, Jordan Weaving side by side. Weaving has to back off because he was getting squeezed almost onto the grass at the front. Taylor Mackenzie has an advantage of 0.6 of a second over Joe Francis in second place.
Yeah, but remember that battle at the front, they're both on four-stroke, so that is the battle for the four-stroke class, the 250 class. And actually the one we're watching now, where 17 Kahn, 34 Weaving and 12 Rendell and Sutherland, this is all 125 action. This is the battle for the lead in the 125 championship.
Tom Kahn in black and blue, number 17. Black and blue.
He's got to end up black and blue, I think.
Ed Rendell, Jordan Weaving once again finds the slipstream speed there to cut through on bike number 34.
And Sutherland's might be just in the hunt here. He's slowly making ground on the three riders in front.
Jordan Weaving from Cape Town, South Africa, in the distinctive red and yellow bike, 14-year-old. He's had he was third at Thruxton here last year, finished second at Snetterton and Assen. He likes quick tracks. And look at this, he's certainly in the mix now with Ed Rendell. Just weaves his way from one side to the other. He'd be getting disqualified in a Formula One race. Yeah. And as they come down Woodham Hill now, braking for the chicane. You're right, Sutherland's right there on the Aprilia.
Watch. No, I thought he was going to have a look up the inside there, Sutherland.
The Aprilia is a very beautiful shaped fairing. It's a lovely looking motorcycle.
A lot more kind of bulbous and round and kind of sculpted looking. The bigger frontal area, and that you'd think that a fairing that's bigger at the front wouldn't cut through the air, but if it's shaped properly at the back, it is the way. You know, you're better with a fairing that covers all the riders than you are with an elbow sticking out.
Taron Mackenzie led across after the line after 8 laps as we watch Rendell cut back in through in front of Jordan Weaving. Mackenzie leads by 0.867 of a second over Joe Francis, and these guys are running, well, actually they're running, is that 15 seconds for Stern? They are indeed.
Yep,
so those Moto3 boys have really cleared off.
Yep.
Joel Irving on the third Moto3 bike is lying 7th ahead of Arnie Shelton, Catherine Green, and another lad, James Hobson, a Barnsley boy who's made an appearance on a Moto3 bike in 10th place.
Absolutely. His dad, Dean, was a racer for years, national class in all sorts of class, I think Super Sport and 600, and also he rode 252 strokes, 404 strokes. So, James Hobson's dad, Dean, did a lot of racing and is still mega interested in it.
Oh, this is great. And this is the first time we've seen Sutherland getting properly stuck in, and he's really giving it some stick on that Aprilia, that white Aprilia.
He is, and it's quick. It's quick. It did use the slipstream there, so you can always be fooled by these 125s thinking somebody's got a really quick bike just because they've slipstream past. You know, it makes a big difference, like I keep saying.
Sutherland was 21st in this championship last year, so where he's found this sudden pace from, I don't know. Perhaps it's the Aprilia. The Aprilias are rumoured to be quick, aren't they, James, in a straight line?
I don't know. Looking at them, these boys, offer them a square meal if they win, they'd have a go, wouldn't they?
He actually got quicker towards the end of the year in the second last round at Silverstone, which is a pretty quick place. He finished 8th, so Peter Sutherland did gradually, the young Glaswegian began to show pace towards the end of last year on bike number 10. And, you know, he's threatening the 125 leader now. He's through to second place in this 125 class. As we check back to Taron Mackenzie, he and his dad, the fabled Neil Mackenzie, 3 times British Superbike champion, will be headed to Texas for Red Bull rookies at the MotoGP round next weekend on a similar Red Bull similar KTM to this, but not the same machine, obviously.
No, and that's why they went for the KTM, because it would be similar in setup and feel to what there's Sutherland, look, on the white number 10.
It involved Mackenzie Senior parting company with some money, you know, so it must have been a big move for them.
I think he's had a blow on the head, Jack, because he's actually got 2 lads in the British Championship now. One of them's doing Red Bull rookies as well. Oh, yeah, Sutherland's gone in.
That was just a peach
Yeah, beautiful.
Move.
Yeah.
So Sutherland now has gone from back. Oh, Jordan Weaving, there's a problem for Ed Rendell.
Definitely.
And that was lucky for Jordan Weaving. He just dodged round the Chelmsford rider and he's gone wrong there. Like the Gearlink Kawasaki coloured leather, it goes very nicely with the yellow.
Possibly seized, I think, that. It was fairly quick, wasn't it?
Yeah. The chain hadn't come off, had it? He just lost drive completely, didn't he? There.
It could be chain. I don't think it's seized because he's looking down. It is a chain. I would guarantee, or I bet a lot of money there that that's a chain, because it wasn't rideable, was it?
Oh, and that's number 66,
that's
Joe
Irving.
Irving. No, was lying in 7th place on the second of the Moto3 KTMs, has crashed out. Thankfully, he's all right, but the bike certainly doesn't look it.
Have a look.
Oh, what it's fast. Oh, yeah, Joe. Oh, he's been lucky because he's rolled across the grass. The bike's got away ahead of him. Taron Mackenzie is now an engineering student at Loughborough College, which is really handy because Redline Motorcycles is just down the road in Leicester. So he goes and does 2 days a week working there, you know, sweeping the floors and learning about gearboxes and things. And as he crosses the line, this is it, victory for a pumped-up Taron Mackenzie. The perfect result to take across the Atlantic Ocean to Texas for the Red Bull rookies next weekend. Second place goes to Joe Francis. This is the battle going on for, oh, and they've got a back marker right in front of them. Peter Sutherland, number 10, he's got to find a way round. Tom Kahn tries to cut inside and go for the line. The Aprilia surely has the speed, but as they fan out across the line, Sutherland takes it ahead of Tom Kahn and Jordan Weaving. Vital for Tom Kahn to get back in front of the South African and hold on to his lead at the top of the championship. The result of Thruxton's race in the Monster Energy Motostar British Championship, but a great result for Taron McKenzie on the Redline KTM 250cc Moto 3 bike ahead of Joe Francis from Chester. Third, after a terrific 125 two-stroke dust-up, was the Kinpack Racing Aprilia of Peter Sutherland from Glasgow. Fourth place for Tom Kahn, just from Jordan Weaving. Fifth for Jordan Weaving, sixth Arnie Shelton, seventh Catherine Green ahead of Elliot Lodge. James Hobson making his debut on the Moto3 Honda. The boy from Barnsley finishes ninth ahead of Stephanie Wadlow. Lovely result. Two ladies in the top 10, folks. That's probably never happened before. Callum Bay 11th ahead of Bayford, Ward, Taron, and Taz Taylor gets the final point just ahead of Sam Berman. So three ladies in the top 16 with Asha Durham, Uraib Waring and Costilla. Two Americans in the last three there. That's a rare thing to happen in any sport. Standings in the Monster Energy Motostar Moto 3 Championship after two races. Taron McKenzie, Redline KTM with a clean 50 points. Joe Francis on the WD-40 Honda, twice second on 40 points. Sam Berman, the young ladies, in third place on 24 points ahead of James Hobson on 16. Joe Irving, who crashed in that race, remains on 16. And then Ollie Simpson and Waring rounding out the 7-point scorers. The standings in the Monster Energy British Motostar Championship 125 GP class. Tom Kahn, after that hard-fought second place on 45 points, leads the way from Jordan Weaving on 36. Arnie Shelton is third on 26 points, one ahead of Thruxton winner Peter Sutherland on his Aprilia. Catherine Green is in fifth place, consistent on 22, ahead of Callum Bay. Ed Rendell, an unlucky retirement. Ward, Lodge and Taz Taylor. 11th for Paul Jordan, Stephanie Wadlow, McLean, Bayford, Durham, Costilla, Uraib and Taron rounding out the top 18.